Okay, now I have my lining and my backing, or my outside, attached together, sandwiched with the soft and stable. And I'm going to sew these two things together. Now when I'm sewing this, I want to make sure that these are facing towards the inside. And then on this end, I have a little bit extra length of my lining, because I'm going to just use that as a kind of a self-binding after I'm all finished sewing around the edges of it. I'll just sew across this, and this end will be finished off then. This end down here is going to come up. It's going to go together like this, and this is going to come down like this, and that's going to form my pouch. And then my two little things that I sewed in here are going to stick out on the side to get my strap, so that we have a finished bag. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sew the front to the back, and I'm going to make sure that these are in when I'm sewing them, so you need to be careful of that. I'm not going to sew across this end here, because I'm going to sew my kind of faux binding down in a few minutes, so I don't really need to attach that and have another stitch in there. So we're just going to go ahead and go all the way around. You see the machine? Okay, I folded up my bottom of my iPad pouch. I went up about 7 1/4 inches, and then I sewed it down on either side here. And so now I'm ready for my binding. This is how it's going to look when I'm finished. I'm going to bind starting at this edge down here, going across, and then coming back down. I'm going to fold my ends under so that they're nice and neat down here at the bottom. And then I've already constructed my strap. When I'm finished with my binding, I'll loop this through and turn it under and sew it down. And I'm going to put a slider on this one so that it can be an adjustable strap. This is 42 inches long. It's a little bit too long for most people. So I'm going to put a slider on so that it can be adjustable for whatever length the person is who's going to be using this. So your binding is just a 2 1/2 inch strip that's folded in half and pressed. And I am going to do this with starting by doing it from basically the back, although this part will be the front. I'm going to leave a little bit of extra material here so that when I turn it over I have something to fold under. And then I'm going to turn it to the other side, and I'm going to machine bind this whole thing. I'm not going to do any hand binding. Now I'm going to use my full 1/4 inch seam allowance on this, because I want to cover up all that stitching that I had done attaching the pieces together. So here we go. We're using a 1/4 inch. It's maybe even a little bit over a 1/4 inch. It's okay. I want to watch when I go past these to make sure that I'm not going off my seam line. Move my zipper pull into the middle there. We're good there. Okay, we've gone past it. Okay, and a lot of people have problems with mitering their corners when they do their machine binding. The way I do it is I mark about a 1/4 inch from the end of where I'm going to make my turn with my pin. I just stick that in there for right now. And when I get to that pin mark, I'm going to immediately do a back stitch and then break off my stitching. Getting close, getting close, getting close, back. And break off my stitching and then make my turn. And then to make the good mitered corner, what you want to do is you want to pull this up straight and then pull it back down so that this edge meets the edge of the next side that you're going to do, and then you miss, when you stitch, you miss stitching in that corner, and you get a good, you can fold your binding, and it makes a good. I'm going to press this over so that it's neat on this side, and then I'm going to sew it on this side, just top stitch it down. And quite frankly, I am not that picky about where my stitching ends up on the back. Some people are very, very picky about that, and I'm not. I guess I should be. It usually looks pretty neat, and I'm not too concerned about that. So I'm going to go. Okay, I'm almost finished. I got my binding on, and I did a pretty good job of hitting both sides evenly. Now I missed a little bit here. As Jenny says, that's something we won't die over. And now I've attached my strap. This is going to be going to the outside, of course. So we'll Velcro this closed. And I made mine with a slider. And so this way the strap is adjustable. Now this slider that I have is a little bit smaller than the one that I used on the elephant case. I like this one better. I lost it somewhere in this wonderful jumble of a sewing room, so I don't know where it is. But this does the same thing. It's just a little bit smaller. So it's going to make it tighter to be able to change the length, but it works nonetheless. So what I did was over here is I just threaded my strap through the D-ring and turned it under and sewed it there. And then to get the slider on, you need to put the slider on before you sew it over on this side. Okay, so I put my slider on, and then I go down and I loop my strap through this D-ring, and then I bring it back up, and then I feed this one through a second time. So you can see it's attached here, but these other ones are going around it. And in order to make it bigger or littler, what you're going to have to do is pull that extra strap up and then pull this back down, and then you've got your adjustment. And then I did the same thing here as I sewed it down, and now my bag is complete. I'm all finished, and it didn't really take me that long. I got my pocket, put all my stuff in, fits my iPad. These straps, if I don't want them, I can go ahead and I can tuck them in this pocket and get them out of the way. If I just want to put it in my purse and I don't want to use that, or I can stick them down here and stick the iPad over it. But anyway, it's a fun little project. It doesn't really take long, and it doesn't take a lot of materials. And it's really pretty when you're finished, depending on, you know, what kind of fabrics you use. You want to use it, make one for a man, then use some manly fabrics, some browns or blacks or something that, you know, could work for them business-wise. And as I showed you, my first one didn't have the straps on it, so you can do it any way you want to make it be what works for you. That's all there is to it.